Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on Tuesday's work. Today, we're going to just go back over what we looked at yesterday very, very quickly, and you can see your answers and check your answers in order to make sure that you understand what we discussed yesterday on verbs, the lively words. Now, if you'll open up your book to page 111, and you're going to, of course, see the answers for Think A and Think B. So I want you to check your work. Remember, action verbs can be physical or mental, so that's important to keep in mind. So check your work. So if you need to put me on pause at any time that we're making or going through this information, or I'm discussing this with you, feel free to do so. So go ahead and pause me now, check your work, make any corrections needed, and then go to the next page. Okay, we're also on page 112 now, and yesterday we talked about how we could take an uninteresting word, verb in particular, and change it to a more interesting verb so that we can have a mental picture of what the sentence is saying. So you can look and see the choices and words that were used for look it up. And again, you were able to determine what word you would have used in each sentence. So these are just some suggested answers. Okay. All right, then we went on to go back and review simple and compound. So just check your work on simple and compound. And then we went on to page 113, and I just want you to check your answers here. Now your answers may vary a little bit, but the way those sentences are worded, they wanted you to put either an action verb in or a being verb. So double check and make sure you have that correct. All right, now today's work we're going to be looking at verbs can help other verbs. Now remember, a verb can do one of four things. It can show action, it can link, it can help, or it merely can indicate existence. So we've been talking about those things since yesterday. But if you look at the top of this page, it says this: do you remember that a verb may be one word or a group of words? Remember, we oftentimes can have verb phrases, and we have to have helping verbs in order to assist an action verb in a verb phrase. So when a verb consists of more than one word, it is called a verb phrase. A verb phrase consists of the main verb and one or more helping verbs. Look at the example. Seth has been fishing all morning. Has been fishing is going to be your verb. Now notice has and been are going to be helping the main verb fishing. So has been fishing is going to be your verb phrase. Seth is going to be your subject. Okay? Look at the helping verbs that you may notice as you're reading sentences in the future. Here are the helping verbs. Please say them along with me as I read them aloud. Ready? Begin. Am, is, are, was, were, be, been, been, have, has, had, do, does, did, shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can, could. Those are the helping verbs that you will see in verb phrases. So please pay very close attention to those. All right, they say oftentimes verb phrases are interrupted by other words. Look at the examples here. It says the word not, and we see that right here, is a common interpreter. Look at the example. The pitcher could not throw a strike. Now, could throw is your verb, pitcher is your subject. Not or in apostrophe T, those words are always adverbs, always. That will never change. So they cannot be part of your verb. So could throw would be your verb phrase, not being an adverb, so you would not underline not with your verb, okay? Look at the second example. Oftentimes the subject of an interrogative sentence usually interrupts the verb phrase. Look at the example here. Can you find the way to my house? Well, notice find is going to be the action verb, but we have a helping verb can. So can is going to be underlined twice. Find is going to be underlined twice as your verb phrase. And then we'll find our subject. Who or what can find? You. So you is going to be your subject. Can find is going to be that action verb. Now can is a helping verb, helping that action verb find. So that actually makes it an action verb. Okay? All right, let's go down to Think A, and we're going to underline the verb phrases in the following sentences 2 times. And I want you to underline your subject 1 time, but watch out for in apostrophe T or not or any other words that can interrupt a verb phrase. All right, look at number 1. Joseph can swim very well. Well, we see we have this helping verb can and also that action verb swim. So we see can swim is going to be our verb. Joseph is going to be our subject. Who or what can swim? Joseph. So can swim is going to be our verb phrase. Joseph is our subject. Number 2. Have you ever been to a swim meet, Robert? Okay, now we're looking for our verb phrase first. Can you find it? That's correct. Have been, right? I hope you found have been. Have been is going to be your verb phrase. Now, who or what have been to find your subject? That's right, you. You is going to be your subject. Have been is going to be that verb phrase. Okay, look at number 3. Your last dive may have been the best dive all day, Anne. Okay, now notice we have a verb phrase here, but it consists of 2 helping verbs and then 1 action verb. Okay, can you see it? Right, may have been. And actually, been isn't an action verb. Been is actually a linking verb. So this would be considered linking. May have been is going to be your verb phrase acting as a linking verb. And who or what may have been to find your subject? That's right, dive is your subject. Okay? All right, number 4. Did John win the backstroke contest? Find your verb phrase, please, and underline it twice. Well, I hope you underlined did win, because did win is going to be that verb phrase. Who or what did win? John. John's going to be my subject. John is my subject. Did win is my verb phrase. Okay? All right, please go ahead and continue 5, 6, 7, and 8. You can go ahead and put me on pause now and then come back and we'll do some exercises off of page 115. Okay, now moving on to page 115, they tell us in Think B to underline the verb phrases in the following paragraphs 2 times. Do not underline a word unless it shows action or is on the helping verb list. Okay? All right, so we're going to do the first 2 sentences together and then I'll have you finish this for work today. So look at the first sentence. It says, Amelia Earhart, a famous woman flyer, was discussing a project with her husband, George Putnam. Now again, we are first looking for that verb. We might be looking for a helping verb and then an action verb. Do you see it? That's right. I hope you underlined was discussing, because was discussing is going to be that verb phrase. And then if you were to find your subject, which they don't ask us to do, but I always like for us to find subjects and verbs, who or what was discussing? Yes, Amelia Earhart. She's going to be our subject. Was discussing was our verb. Okay, let's go to the next sentence. Amelia had recently crossed the Atlantic Ocean by air. Okay, can you find your verb phrase? I hope you underlined had crossed, because had crossed is going to be that verb phrase. And recently, however, is that interrupting word. Recently ends in ly, which gives us a strange sneaking suspicion it's going to be an adverb, and therefore cannot be part of the verb. So had crossed is going to be your verb. Who or what had crossed, define your subject, is going to be Amelia. Amelia is going to be your subject there. Okay, so this is what you're going to do for the rest of Think B. And then once you finish Think B, I want you to come down to Think C, and they tell you to identify the verbs in bold print by writing action, being, or helping. Action, being, or helping. So look at number 1 with me, and it says this: the little nation of Portugal was at the forefront of the age of exploration. Now, was is the italicized word here, and we only have 1 word, so it's not helping, okay? And it's not action. So automatically we know this is a being verb. We also refer to it as a linking verb, okay? So we're going to put being here because, again, it's not helping another verb, okay? It's all by itself. It's not helping another verb, and it's not an action verb because it's in our linking verb list, our being verb list. Am, is, are, was, were, okay? So linking and being mean about the same thing, and you'll hear me use both those terms for the same thing. But was here is being. Look at number 2. The king's son had established a special school for sea captains. Okay? Now, in this right here, we have the king's son had established. Now, the only thing that they have actually bolded here is the word establish. But keep in mind, we have a helping verb right before had established. So, had established would be your true verb phrase. However, if they had had the word had bolded, then automatically we would put down helping. But since they just have the word established, and that's the only thing they have bolded here, we know that establish is going to be an action verb. Okay, so we're going to write down action right here on the blank because we're only looking at just the word established. All right, look at number 3. Because of his consuming interest in navigation, he was called Prince Henry the Navigator. Now notice was here is going to be what's bolded, but the true verb, the full verb is was called, but we're only looking at the word was. And since we have was called, we have that action verb that this word was is helping, we know this is going to be a helping verb. Okay, it's going to be a helping verb. Okay, and then we'll do one more. Look at number 4. Prince Henry also designed an observatory to study the positions of the stars and designed a new kind of ship, the caravel. So we have the word designed. Now, designed automatically, it doesn't follow a helping verb, okay? And we know it's not a linking verb. So designed is automatically what type of verb, class? That's right, it's going to be action. So I hope you wrote down action right here on the blank. Okay, now go ahead and finish 5, 6, 7, and 8 for me, please. And anything that you have not completed on pages 114 and 115, that will need to be completed today for work. And I hope you have a great remainder of the day.